time of tradition. There were three filmmakers with nothing in common. They thought they had it all figured out. They don't just follow the movies, they make them. Alexander Pavlak, Mario Silvas, and Jamal Alexander are the makers on film.
Thank you for joining us today on Makers on Film. I am your resident writer-director, Alexander. With me, as always, even though he was late, Mario I. Silvas, recording engineer.
Only by 3 hours.
Yeah, you know, in the grand scheme of movies, you're still early.
In the grand scheme of Mexicanisms, I'm early, all right?
There is that, too. And, as always, with us is our resident actor, Jamal Alexander.
I'm fat!
Oh, by the way, that also, since you've said it, has made it into every podcast somewhere.
Oh, sweet. Nice.
You know, I'm pretty sure he's so fat that when he screamed that, the waveforms just gained like 10 pounds.
Oh, I'm gaining 10 pounds right now because I plan on getting hammered while we do this.
Go for it.
Cool.
Through the power of editing, I tried to make Jamal look like a bigger jerk than what he was.
How? Why? Wait. What did you use to make me seem like a bigger jerk?
So, we were doing that discussion about the, what was her name? Rachel something? The NAACP woman?
Oh,
Dolezal, yeah.
Yeah, Dolezal. So, Heather was talking about that, and one of the last things that is said in the conversation, I truncated that conversation because last week's episode was 2 hours long, slightly more than what our normal episodes are.
It's all right. This one's only going to be about 45 minutes because, you know, we're starting at midnight.
Yeah. So Heather says the phrase something to the effect of the reason why everybody likes Caitlyn Jenner is because she used to be a white male and she's very rich and very popular and well connected with government officials. And the reason why everybody's getting down on Rachel Dolezal is because she's a woman. And somewhere in the conversation after that, Jamal uses the phrase, that's cliche, and I cut it out and stuck it back together. Not doing this on purpose, but Heather says that phrase, and then you hear Jamal say, oh, that's cliche. And then I was like, oh, that makes Jamal sound like a jerk. I should remove that. And then right before I hit delete, I was like, no, wait, that makes Jamal sound like a jerk. I'm going to leave that in.
Why would you do that?
Because it's funny.
It is a little funny.
Why would you do that?
Also because you're kind of being
Go ahead.
You're kind of being a pain in the ass last week because you were so stuck in your opinion of that Sandra Bullock Lost in Space movie being so good that you wouldn't listen to anybody else.
No.
You were being a little bitch last week, dude. On that.
I acknowledge that you guys don't like it. I'm just offering you proof that everybody else seemed to like it.
Well, everybody else can like it. That's fine. But, you know, I cite again Idiocracy, where the taste level in movies have degraded so much that in that movie, the biggest hit movie is an ass on screen farting. Just because that's the biggest hit of the movie doesn't make it a good movie. It just makes it what everybody likes.
That just makes you sound like, arrogant because now all of a sudden your opinion is the right one.
No, but you were so against anybody else's opinion when it came to that movie.
No. I wasn't against your opinions of the movie. I was against the fact that you universally slammed that movie and says, "Oh, it was a terrible movie and it was all this."
Backpedal.
Okay, whatever.
No, Jamal, you were pretty much calling us pieces of shit last week because
How was I calling you? All right, I'm not even gonna argue.
And the best part is, we were discussing that a little bit earlier today, and Heather's sister Rachel also dislikes that movie for much of the same reasons why we cited we didn't like the movie.
And you're free to dislike it. I can rest on laurels that it's reviewed amazingly and it made a bunch of money. So
we've discussed on the show how critics aren't really the end all be all of this, but I will give you the box office. I will give you that. Moving away from that, going to the news, you know the actor Dick Van Patten, right? He was the dad on Eight Is Enough. He appeared in a couple of comedy movies, spoof movies. He was in a couple of Weird Al Yankovic videos.
Oh, him. Yeah, I know his face.
Okay.
Yeah, he was no, he was in Spaceballs. He was
Yeah, he was.
fucking not the President Scroob.
He was like one of the generals or
Yeah,
something.
I can see his face. I just can't picture where he was though. He was the king. That's what it
That's what he
was.
was. Yes, he was.
That's what it
Vespa's
was.
father. He was on the Love Boat, The Next Wave, which was heavily influenced by Star Trek: The Next Generation.
You know, with less
What?
sex.
Kind of, yeah, and less
Yeah.
aliens.
Yeah.
Well, about the same amount.
No, well, I mean, no, foreigners. Let's call them foreigners.
He was in Robin Hood Men in Tights. Dick Van Patten died on June 23rd.
Son of a
Sad.
bitch.
Yeah,
Sad.
it was very sad. And before we give him the moment of silence, I also have to announce that James Horner, who is a composer who worked on Titanic and Avatar and Braveheart and Troy, died in that plane crash in Santa Barbara.
Jesus Christ, really?
Yeah, they knew his plane went down, but they couldn't verify that he was on it, but they just did.
Holy shit, I didn't even hear about that.
Yeah, a couple days ago. They verified
Fucking
that.
Christ.
So
Wow.
we should give these two titans of the silver screen a moment of silence. Okay. Now, on a slightly lighter note, remember a couple episodes back when I was talking about the highest paid prostitute in Minneapolis?
Oh, good lord.
Minneapolis.
Yes, I got her to friend me on
Jesus Christ.
Twitter.
Is she offering discount?
No, but I followed her on Twitter, and then I posted a thing that says that we talked about her, and I posted the show onto her page, or however Twitter works. I did the ad thing, whatever, however it works. I don't fully understand it because I'm old. But the next day, she liked it and started following me.
Fucking Christ.
So we have. Oh, that reminds me. We have people who are listening to us who are not in our country, who are not in America. We have a small overseas following.
It's not all like this. Some people are actually competent and better.
What?
I don't understand where that came from.
I'm just saying that we're like their first exposure to America, and it's.
I doubt we're the first exposure.
I highly doubt the three
There's a
of us are the first.
There's a possibility that we are.
Okay, if we're somebody's definition of the first time in America, I want them to know that Jamal is a prick. All right, let's go on.
I think we all
All
are.
of this. Oh God, you make me wait 3 hours, and then this is.
I'll hang up. Yeah, I have no problem hanging up.
Yeah, I thought that you do.
You missed the show structure that I posted on Facebook because one of you doesn't have Facebook and the other doesn't ever go on it.
Yeah, Jamal.
What?
But
Which one is which? I'm not entirely sure. Do I have a Facebook? I don't know.
do you have a Facebook?
I don't know.
You don't seem to.
I probably don't.
And Mario never goes on his, but
God,
I
no.
posted our show structure, which is show's main topic, Mario's cats, make fun of Jamal, plug the show on the show. That's all we seem to do. But because
I'm
of
gonna miss you
that,
guys when I start off my own show. I'm gonna miss you guys.
but because of that, we're pretty big in Germany right now.
We're like David Hasselhoff.
There are 10 people who have listened to us in Germany. So hello to our 10 German friends.
Guten Tag.
Guten Tag and Dankeschön.
I'm reading like the Baywatch page
There's a Baywatch page? What, like on IMDb or something?
on Wikipedia.
Oh.
Actually, I'm on Baywatch Nights because I never understood it. What is?
I think it was supposed to be the spooky version of Baywatch, like Baywatch Ghost Stories or whatever.
Wait, so David Hasselhoff was on 2 shows at one time?
Both called Baywatch, yeah.
Right. How does that work, though? How do you film 22 episodes here and then 22 episodes there? It takes 8 months to film a show.
Actually, it doesn't really take 8 months. I mean, if you count post and pre-production, but the actual filming, they do every episode in a week. In 2 weeks, they basically make what amounts to a movie.
Yeah.
So, he probably did 6 months worth of Baywatch and then 6 months worth of Baywatch nights.
Remember Donna Derrico?
No.
She was on the Baywatch.
Got it.
Mario,
Yeah.
look! I just suggested a site to Alex. You should look it up. It's a pretty good site. Theartofmanliness.com.
I actually have subscribed to their YouTube channel, and I frequent them a lot, actually.
It's a good site, right?
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, it looks like it's got some good information on it.
Yeah.
Definitely thoroughly go through that.
Fucking the YouTube video just came out from them, where they talk about interview questions and how to properly prepare for an interview.
I'm gonna have to watch that.
Oh, well, that accompanied with, or I'm sorry, that one came out a while ago. The one that they just came out with not too long ago, it actually tied into that. It was speaking of the art of, basically the art of seduction without the sexualism in it. Getting someone to like you, and making someone feel comfortable, even if you only interact with them for a couple of minutes. So those two are were really fun to watch back to back.
Yeah.
I think I might have seen the latest in that line. It's the art of saving face when you're you screwed up. How to actually talk about it without
Yeah,
being pathetic, basically.
yeah. They're actually really good too. So they were enjoyable.
I just found out what geocaching was. You guys know what
Dude,
geocaching?
I love geocaching.
Do you?
Which
Yeah.
geocaching?
Do you actually do it?
Yeah.
Oh, sweet, nice.
I went over to for
hang
those
on.
who don't
hang
know
on.
what geocaching.
Yeah, let's explain
Yeah.
because Alex doesn't seem to know.
Okay,
Geocaching. You want to go, Mario?
And
yeah,
this is
sure.
why I edit the show the way I do.
Okay.
You mean us out entirely?
Yeah.
No, but please go ahead and explain it for me and anybody else who's listening along who may not know.
Geocaching is like treasure finding. So you have, well, for me, I have an app on my phone. Literally just like Google or Android, iPhone thing, whatever. In the Play Store, the geocaching app, and they're all GPS, like real-time GPS based. So what you do is you go on and you're like, oh, someone left something here. And a lot of times it's up in the mountains, or like I found one in a tree, like up a 10-foot tree, or someplace off the beaten path.
People are actually leaving stuff places.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you have to go find it.
And then what you do after you find that is that you replace it with something that's either sentimental to you, or you think someone else would enjoy, or like a little treasure for finding that spot. And like there's been, I know of one like huge geocaching site where people will go worldwide to try to find these little items.
You're basically Indiana Jonesing it.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
I get that. It's like a scavenger hunt or a treasure hunt. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah. I found a what was it, like a little pillbox with strike anywhere matches, a fishing line, and a fishing hook.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
Granted, I was up in the mountains, but yeah, I found it in there.
Well, it's like a little survival kit.
Yeah,
I do think that one day I do think that one day that's going to lead to something really bad, like a crazy person finds geocaching and leaves like a head in a box somewhere. But it looks like a lot of fun.
There's a movie in it somewhere, right there.
Yeah, for
What
sure.
you said.
It's called Seven.
Just
All right,
about.
that was
Yeah.
funny. I'll give you that one.
No, geocaching looks like a lot of fun. It really does. Like I started Googling it right after. Like I went on YouTube and just people have been posting videos of themselves going out there and finding it. It seems like a really immersive activity, something you can really like lose yourself in for like 8 hours at a time, and I dig that.
Oh, definitely. Well,
That's why I love this site, by the way, Art of Manliness.
If you want, there's another, because of Art of Manliness. Actually, funny enough, there's an ad over one of their YouTube videos. It's a video game. It's on your phone. It's called Ingress. And what you do is it's real world time, but you physically get near a building, and it's like a little power portal, something kind of like power station, and your team controls it. And you have to defend it from other people, but it's all like you're the actual player in this game. So you're walking around doing all that stuff. So it kind of goes hand in hand with geocaching if you're into something like that.
What was the other one called?
Ingress, Ingress. Again, it's an app on the smartphone market.
I know we're a show about film and we usually talk about film, but it's not all we talk about. I really like this site, and in fact, Alex, you were on there just a little bit earlier. You found some stuff about suits and stuff that you were interested in.
Yeah, they were some easy to follow tutorials about what you need in your wardrobe, your everyday carry supplies, what is the marker of a good fitting suit, stuff like that. And it's kind of logical things, but it's some people just don't know this. You don't know how many guys I run into, you two in particular, who probably either A, don't have a suit, or B, don't have a suit that fits properly.
Okay.
A, I do. Well, correction. A, I did when I was 80 pounds ago, and
80
B,
pounds heavier or 80 pounds lighter?
heavier.
Okay.
And B, yeah, no, it doesn't fit anymore.
A and only A. I don't know what I would wear it to. But no,
you could wear it to job interviews or auditions, unless
but that's usually just a clean shirt and like when I say a clean shirt, like a dress shirt.
Yeah.
And like decent slacks and good shoes. That's pretty much what I wear to anything.
But the thing is, you don't have to wear like a suit. You can get like a sport coat, wear it with some jeans, and that's a nice look. I sport that look all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. But speaking of things to wear, did you hear about Rose McGowan?
Ooh.
No.
Apparently, she went to audition for an Adam Sandler movie, and she gets a note that says all female actresses auditioning for this film has to wear tight pants, a push-up bra, and some sort of shirt that's going to show off her cleavage.
And she was so angry with it that she actually took a picture of that part of it and posted it on Twitter.
Yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm. And then
she doesn't say Sandler directly, but she rhymes his name. But yeah, Sandler has not had a great year this year. Did you hear about the Native Americans on the set of his last film?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
Well, see, Adam Sandler responded and said he didn't know anything about this, but you never know. Madam Panhandler, that's what she called him.
That is a complete crock, because Adam Sandler produces every movie he's in. He's a vested producer in that. He knew what happened on there. He's just shifting the blame to somebody else.
Maybe yes, maybe no. Maybe this was sent out without his knowledge. We don't know that. We can only go by what he says. But yeah, I mean, if you're the producer, you should know these kind of things. You should be on it. Or the director. Yeah. If you're the director, you should be on that kind of stuff.
Before we go on about the Rose McGowan thing, because there's a conversation in that self to be had. The Native American. I am not a fan of Generation PC. I don't like political correctness and everything.
Despite the fact that you apologize every time we say anything even slightly racist.
Well, I do that more or less for viewership value. What we say in our personal lives, that's something else.
Hey, Jamal.
Yeah.
Black.
Okay.
Does that offend you?
About as much as red offends me.
Racism.
Ooh, snap.
Okay, there you go. No, I'm not a fan of Generation PC at all. Like, you can't make jokes anymore nowadays. Like, you gotta dance around stuff, and that'll play into, by the way, to the movie topic we did this week. But was what he was doing on there, because it was the jokes were directed at a minority. Do you think there was a place that it was offensive, or was it more of a PC thing?
I don't know. I didn't hear what the jokes were, but
I guess they portrayed Native Americans like just crazy, and like some of them just shitting in the woods, like portrayed on film actually shitting in the woods buck naked or stuff like that.
Yeah, no, and the worst part was it wasn't even that, like, they didn't even try to make it like a parody where it's like, oh, all Indians are savages and do this and blah blah blah. No, like apparently they just had them doing that in the film.
They just had them doing. No, they just had them doing.
What film is this?
Stupid things. Not even like. It's not out yet. It's called
Yeah,
the Silly Seven or whatever. I'm not
Okay.
gonna see it. I don't care. Um, but yeah,
honestly, I didn't even
no,
hear about this movie until
yeah,
this started.
no. Mario's right. It's not like even they weren't even just stereotyping these people. They were just having them doing like really stupid, degrading stuff, and they happened to be Native Americans dressed up in traditional, like garb and all of that.
Yeah,
They were basically just making them look stupid.
Yeah.
the Ridiculous Six, is that
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, okay, comedy western. All right. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of crap that's been going on with this one. I'm gonna be surprised if this movie gets finished. Actually,
It is getting finished, but here's the kicker: and it's a sign that Sandler's movie career is probably on its
Over.
last legs.
mm.
It's going straight to Netflix.
Ouch.
I'm not a big fan of Will Ferrell, and I'm not a big fan of Adam Sandler, but apparently people are. I mean, they keep releasing movies and they keep making money at the box office.
Yeah,
I mean, we may look down on that, and this is like our argument last week about Gravity. Just we have differing opinions on it. There's a market for it out there. There's a market for Gravity, just like there's enough people that don't like Gravity, like Alex, for instance. I honestly have not seen a Will Ferrell thing since Anchorman, and I wasn't a huge fan of Anchorman.
See, I like when he does voiceover work. I liked The Oblongs. I liked Megamind. I liked the Lego movie. I even like the live action part of the Lego movie. I like him kind of as a serious guy, like Everything Must Go, or the one where his life is being narrated because he's a book character.
Mm.
But
oh yeah, it wasn't terrible. I mean,
no,
I had a good time watching that one.
That was a serious film, and
it was serious-ish. I mean,
serious-ish, and that came out right when like a bunch of comedians were starting to come out with like more serious stuff. They were basically Jim Carrey came out with something serious, and then all the comedians thought, this is my shot to be like a real actor.
Yeah,
And so movies like that started coming out. Ben Stiller started doing, serious films. Punch Drunk Love came out with Sandler in it. Few of them actually turned out all right.
not everything that Will Ferrell does is bad, but a lot of what Will Ferrell does, I don't like.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. Like some people just absolutely love Will Ferrell, and Anchorman is reviewed very well. I just don't like it. I don't find any of it funny.
I liked Anchorman. I haven't seen Anchorman 2 yet. I really have no desire to see it because I have a feeling that it's either going to be the exact same thing that Anchorman was, or it's going to ruin what little bit of the movie that I thought was good. So, but yeah.
But back to Sandler. He's having a terrible year.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, he's only got himself to blame if that's the kind of material he's writing because he has a lot of creative control over the stuff he does. He produces
Wait,
it.
did he write that one?
I don't know.
I don't think he writes it, but the
he-
script went through his desk,
Son of
and
a
he
bitch,
decided,
no, he-
yes, this is.
Yeah, no, he has a writing credit on that
Yeah.
one.
See,
There you go.
even if he didn't have a writing credit, he was the producer. He approved the script as is. He didn't send it back for rewrites.
Yeah.
He didn't say take this scene out. He let the scene go through. So yeah, I mean, like that's kind of bad.
No. Well, back to my question. Do you think that there's genuine grounds to go that was offensive, or is it just being Generation PC being Generation PC?
See, if you look at it like this, if you pick one person or one group out and make fun of them, that's a little too far. So like in Adam Sandler's case where he's just making fun, and he's probably not just making fun of the Native Americans, but this seems to be the hot button issue. Until we see the movie, we don't know. But if he's just making fun of them as a group and not making fun of any other groups, then yes, that is very bad. If it's something like South Park where they make fun of everybody and everybody complains and says you got to be nice, then that's just PC people complaining, trying to make everybody PC. And that's the beauty part about South Park, is that they do not discriminate against who they make fun of.
And that is a beautiful segue into our movie topic for the week, because part of our movie topic.
Actually, before we go into that, there is one more thing I want to talk about, which
Sure.
actually falls in line with this. Zoe Saldana, is that how you say her last name?
Yeah.
Sure.
She took to social media to complain about how female actresses are treated in general as pretty much employees, stating the fact that male stars will get all sorts of lavish gifts like penthouse suites at 4-star hotels, yachts, stipends,
Bull,
food,
bull, calling bull right now.
entourages, several personal assistants. But she asked, and this is all from the production company, and then she asked to have a nanny, and they refused to pay for one for her.
I'm sure she's just venting for having a bad day or having not gotten what she wanted. But I'm calling bull right now. They're all pampered like that.
Yeah, they are.
They're all divas.
Okay, but do you think it's right that any kind of employee denies you childcare?
For
Or-
that particular, well, let's put this in context. It's Zoe Saldana. In the last 3 years, she's probably racked up like her movies have probably racked up like $2 billion at the box office. I'm sure she could have afforded a nanny on her own.
She could have, but does she have to? If somebody is getting all this lavish stuff that they don't need, but you ask for something and you don't get it, then where do you draw the line? What,
They don't offer that stuff at regular jobs. Why would they offer it at that one?
Yeah, unless it's actually written into her contract saying something like that, they have no obligation to do that.
Yeah,
That's what I'm gonna get at.
and I really don't.
I hate to sound all like lawyered up or anything, but I mean, unless she was able to provide something for her child, or unless it was written in her contract, yes, I can do this movie. However, I need a stipulation, and that is, you know,
yeah,
care of my child the entire time.
you negotiate a contract, and just because
Exactly.
you put that in doesn't mean that they agreed to that. But if
No.
somebody puts in
However,
weird things and the company agrees to it, but she asks for something reasonable and they don't agree to it, is there a double standard there?
If they are legally obligated to actually provide childcare, then and they didn't, I see she has a legitimate gripe.
They're
If
not
they,
legally obligated to supply any of that stuff for them. They're
then
doing
no.
this because of how they view the star and basically the body of work that they do. So as far as she goes, you say she's made millions of dollars in the past few years. Does that mean that she is a star who should get these kind of things? That
Hang on.
she has deserved to get this kind of treatment from studios?
Hang on. First off, if I'm a studio head, and this is just a personal thing, I don't want anything to do with actual family matter. I could hire a nanny, and if that nanny smacks the kid, I'm all of a sudden in like deep shit. But no, I don't think it's the same thing. I think that the pampering stuff, that's just Hollywood tradition, sucking up things like that. Whereas the nanny stuff, that's something else altogether. You're talking like real world responsibilities, a child, a human life, by the way, and I don't want to get involved in that. Like I don't want to bear responsibility for that. I'll buy you like a fucking Mercedes if it makes you make, my movie that much better. Asking me to take responsibility over like another human being, no. Yeah, I want a certified. No, you're doing this on your own. Hello?
Yeah. No, interesting point.
oh, sorry, I thought there was more.
No.
Oh, then yes, I'm gonna agree with him on that one.
Okay. See, I think it seems like a double standard. I mean,
I don't like the fact that she's complaining about this, by the way.
If you're a star, well, we'll get to that in a second. But if you're a star and you get an entourage, your entourage is your entourage. You're just having the studio pay for the people that you hire. Because your personal assistant, because they could hire you a personal assistant who's a complete doofus and does everything wrong and screws everything up for you and costs you money.
Again, I think this is probably
But
just
then that
case of her
assistant would be
venting.
fired in 24 hours.
Yeah. So, as far as that goes, what's the difference between a personal assistant and a nanny? But if you get hired on, your personal assistant gets hired on too. That's what they mean by hiring a personal assistant.
That she should have hired a nanny on her own, brought her with her to the set and said, this person works for me or was with me, pay her. That's it. They pay her through you, basically.
Yeah, but she made the mistake of saying that this is my nanny because she didn't think that this would be an issue, and it is.
Again, I think this sounds like her venting more than
Yeah,
anything
no,
else.
this sounds like something that, for some reason whatsoever, was blown up.
Yeah. And I like Zoe Saldana quite a bit, actually. I really appreciate her work. But if she wants to vent about the treatment of women in film, then in the film industry she should talk about how they're sexualized, objectified, and not paid as much. This is petty. This is really small stuff, like minor stuff in the grander scheme.
Well, doesn't the amenities also equate to them being paid?
I don't see that at all. Again, they're all pampered. Like every last one of them. Like I'm pretty sure whatever, like for instance, Will Smith, wherever he goes, they ship that giant monstrosity of a trailer he has. You guys ever seen that?
No.
He has this trailer that actually expands out the sides and upward, so he has a two-story mansion, a portable two-story mansion wherever he goes.
That doesn't surprise me.
That's kind of impressive more than anything else.
I think Brad Pitt has something very similar to that.
They're all pampered. It's just one of them. It sounds like in this case, one of them didn't get exactly what they wanted, and because we live in the age of social media, had the misfortune of just shooting from the hip.
Yeah. I'm gonna believe that entirely.
All right. It's quite interesting. Let's go ahead and move on to the Dirty Harry franchise.
Oh.
Now, Jamal
wait, hold on.
You didn't watch your movie, did you?
I watched the wrong movie.
What movie did you watch?
The Enforcer?
No, you
That's
know.
fine.
That's right. That's
fine.
what you were supposed to watch.
The Jet Li one?
Oh, you idiot. Oh, you absolute idiot.
See, you were all like, ooh, I stopped paying attention to you guys. I'm so cool. Look at me. I stopped paying attention to you guys.
Oh,
I didn't think there would be another movie, The Enforcer.
Oh, my God.
Yes.
We're tabling this. All right, this is next week's discussion then.
No, fuck it. You talk.
We're spending the rest of this podcast talking about Zoe Saldana. We're saving this until he sees the right movie.
No. We move on. The show must go on. Mario's unprepared. You talk about the movie you watched, you doofus.
Oh shit! I've seen this movie a long time ago.
The Clint Eastwood Enforcer.
Yeah, the Clint Eastwood one. Yeah.
Why'd you give him the name? I'm sure he was not gonna get it.
Well, your movie was first, so why don't you go ahead and talk about yours, Jamal?
I'm thrown off right now. I can't think straight. How does that happen?
I honestly didn't even see that there was another Enforcer. That's why.
He stopped paying attention to the conversation, so he missed the whole part where it was the Dirty Harry franchise.
We said that like over and over and over again.
I heard that part, but for some reason the Enforcer was the only thing that was going through my mind when I was like, oh, I found the Enforcer, and then I watched that.
And it didn't set off any kind of bells that Dirty Harry or Clint Eastwood was not involved in that project in any way, shape, or form?
Honestly, no, because I was like, oh, Jet Li movie at that point in time.
You're such a doofus.
I never claimed to be a smart man.
Jamal, please, go on. Talk to us about the Dirty Harry movie, Dirty Harry.
Okay, here, I'll talk about... Well, we were talking about PC earlier, right?
Yes, we were.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the day, nobody cared about that shit. Like, at all. Like, the movie I watched, he straight up uses, like, slurs throughout the whole thing. And he does that, as I think about it, Clint Eastwood does that quite a bit.
Yeah, he does.
Have you seen Gran Torino?
Yes.
Yeah.
No, they use the N-word, they use the, like, a lot of the humor type stuff derived in that movie just comes from, like, blatantly racist stuff and homophobic stuff, which is, I myself can get by those just because I grew up, like, watching this kind of stuff and, because I have testicles. But that sort of thing wouldn't fly today. Like, I'm pretty sure Gran Torino would have been better received by many had he not leaned so much into like racist old man, even though that just made the movie better in my opinion. I think he knew exactly what he was going for in Gran Torino when he decided I'm going to be like old and racist, and there's a lot of humor in that.
Well, the background of the character led into the reasons why he was like that.
No,
And
no, no,
then he also overcame that towards the end of the film.
no. Old racist is caricatures now. If you watch Community, Mario, you watch Community, right?
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, Chevy Chase's character for 4 seasons.
Jesus Christ. Yeah.
Yeah, and all the parents on Seinfeld. Like, that caricature has been around for a while, and Clint Eastwood just happened to lean in it in that movie, and I thought it came off with great comedic effect. This other Dirty Harry, on the other hand, it came out when he was fairly young. It's not a caricature. I guess it's a sign of the time. It was okay to make those kinds of jokes back then.
Yeah.
Is it okay now? Well, no, because everybody has a voice thanks to social media. And if you offend one person or one group, the fact that they're able to actually communicate that to a large audience, to a large, a larger group of people, it makes it not okay anymore. Is it right or wrong? I don't know. That's a larger debate to be had. I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. It's the highest, most well reviewed of the films. It's classic action fare. It's classic Clint Eastwood. It makes me think everybody in the 70s was on acid as well, because there's a few things in there that's pretty much just kind of there to like trip you out, especially the villain. The villain in there just goes way, way over the top with his mannerisms and all that, and some of the scoring and the music and some of the shots, the pullaways, all of that. Again, it's a movie that's definitely, it ages well, but it's dated. You can tell when it was made and just how great it was for that time. I don't know if you guys have actually seen the movie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Am I the only one that also gets how it set kind of the trend for the 80s and 90s as well?
No, it did. It see the Dirty Harry was that old school cop in a new school world kind of a thing. The whole point was he was supposed to be racist, but everybody else was going towards a PC, even though they didn't have that name for it yet, a PC mentality. So it was a kinder, gentler nation kind of a thing that was happening around him, because it was moving out of the hippie phase into, but kind of grabbing onto those kind of ideals of peace, love, and happiness or harmony or whatever hippies believe in. But that was the whole point of the movie, is that he was this old racist cop, this guy who still believes in beating your kids, and he was kind of being thrust into this new society, and he had more rules and more regulations that he had to play by. He couldn't be that cop out on the edge, but yet he still managed to do that. So that was kind of the whole point of the film, and that did usher in that new kind of era of 70s and 80s kind of action films.
Yeah, and you and I were talking before the show, before Mario joined us. This generation doesn't have action heroes. Like today, doesn't have really great action heroes.
No, not anymore.
Yeah, Eastwood took the torch from John Wayne at that point, and really kind of started off this trend of really masculine, macho roles and action heroes, and that's the stuff I grew up on. I love Conan and Rocky and Rambo and Terminator and Predator and all of those movies. Those are the things that I grew up watching. In fact, they're probably the things that kind of inspired me or made me want to get involved in film, because they were fun and they were great ways to just escape. You don't see roles like that anymore. You don't see kind of heroes like that anymore. I mentioned this to Alex. There's for whatever reason around the 2000 early 2000s, we decided we wanted much more sensitive guys as our heroes on screen. Neo from the Matrix came to mind, as one of the first ones.
Yeah.
Hang on, I'm drinking.
Wasn't sure if that meant that it was our turn to talk, if you still had more going on.
Yeah,
No, no,
I
no,
was.
no, no.
I thought
I
he was
stopped.
breathing.
There's
That's why.
there's something in my throat. I'm drinking.
It's called a penis.
I knew that was coming.
Phrasing.
What was I saying? Oh yeah. Movies are pretty much nowadays. Movies are kind of like wuss fare. I mean, they're not really tough. They're not really like you have action movies, but they're mostly like you're more there for the comic book characters. Like those are the draws. There's no real like one actor or genuine tough guys in Hollywood don't exist anymore, unless you guys got have names to throw out.
No,
Vin Diesel.
Genuine tough guys.
see,
Rose McGowan.
Who?
I keep forgetting that one, Alex.
yeah. I said Michelle Rodriguez. She's the toughest guy I know.
I don't know what you're talking about, man. That girl's fine.
You know she
I
likes
think
women,
so.
right?
No, she swings both ways.
Yeah, you wish.
I've done the research.
How?
What?
No. How did you find that out?
She has Twitter.
I guess those technology things.
I learned how to use Twitter specifically for that.
To stalk women.
Yes.
Do you have a Twitter account?
No, but I have a website. It's called mof.ninja, and if somebody wants to go there and like listen to the show, they can leave a comment while they're doing it.
And make sure you leave your Twitter handle so Jamal can stalk you later.
Yeah.
At
Especially if you're a very beautiful bisexual woman.
Where can they leave that?
They can go to mof.ninja.
There you go.
Anyway.
No, back to Dirty Harry. I like the writing of it, actually. Well, not the writing, the pacing. It's a very well-paced movie. In fact, I don't know if you guys remember this, but very early on in the movie, he doesn't actually say anything for like the first 3 to 4 minutes.
Yeah, I was gonna say he doesn't speak for a long time, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it's like the first words in there were like "goddamn" or something like that. Yeah, they took the time to actually kind of like scope out that city. I really like the way they used the city for the film. The great selection, like our conversation about New York. I like films that give the city personality, that make the setting a character, and I felt they accomplished that with 1970s San Francisco. It's barely recognizable to me. It's not the San Francisco I think of nowadays, because I kind of think of San Francisco as like luxury getaway for like gay couples. Like Mario, you weekend there, don't you?
Yeah, every once in a while, whenever I can get my dick out of your mouth.
When are we going back?
Okay, so as far as Dirty Harry goes, and this leads into it, so give me a second. You do know that Dirty Harry is actually based on a real crime and investigation, right?
Yeah, the Zodiac murders.
Okay. Do you know do you know of the lead detective on the Zodiac murders, which Clint Eastwood's character is based on?
Dirty Harry.
No,
Harry Callahan.
No. It's the character, the person that Dirty Harry is based on. Flaming homosexual. Dirty Harry.
Why is it a flaming homosexual?
That's what he is.
He just be homosexual.
He has no qualms about.
I'm gonna apologize to all you flaming homosexuals out there.
He has no qualms about his femininity, and you can tell that when you see the interviews about that guy. Yeah, you can tell. There are guys who, when you say they're gay, are like, really? I didn't know that. And then there are guys like, yeah, he's totally gay.
See, that's a movie I would rather see. I would rather see that movie because that just makes me feel for that guy all that much more. Because I don't know if a lot of people know this. The Zodiac killer was targeting gay people. Like he was making a point to just single out that community and go straight after them. So I'm very happy that somebody in that community rose up to defend his own community.
But Dirty Harry Callahan, a little gay.
Yeah, well,
that's all I'm saying about that.
No, Dirty Harry Callahan is tertiarily like based on that story. The only thing they really have in common is Scorpio, is the name Scorpio. That's part of like the zodiac or whatever. Uh, but
That and his gayness.
I don't think he was gay no, he was not gay in that movie. You know how I know that? The victim, the one he buries, that was a girl.
Yeah.
He rapes and kills that girl and then buries her.
No, Dirty Harry Callahan is the gay one.
No. Dirty Harry Callahan is a widower in that series. I thought you knew that. You saw the third movie. Isn't that like a major thing in the third?
They don't talk about that at all. But Rock Hudson had a wife, and
Yeah.
he didn't have anything to do with her because he was gay.
No, I have no problem if Dirty Harry Callahan is gay, because it really, as I think of the series, it doesn't. His love life has very little to do with the whole thing.
Exactly.
Like, I have no problems with him being gay.
Called beards. That's what they call them. The girls that he pretends
Mario,
to
was
be.
that you laughing or farting?
Both.
Okay. Earlier, I said I sort of got you sort of get the feeling that everybody in the '70s was on acid. Um, did you guys get any sort of like like vibes that this scene was sort of meant for the psychedelic crowd? Like I really think the scene where he chases down the Scorpio in the what do you call it, the football field. I really thought that was meant for like psychedelic effect.
Well, yeah. I mean, you're hard pressed to find any movie, 72, like 65 to 72, that doesn't have kind of psychedelic overtones. Even a straight-laced cop movie like this is going to have those, because those were the butts they wanted to put in the seat, because those were the guys who would spend the money. The guys who had the money to spend on drugs would also go and do some acid, smoke some pot, and then go see a Dirty Harry movie and freak the fuck out. So yeah, everything that you did, you put a little bit of that in, hoping to get those kind of people in your seats.
By the way, I don't mean to get political for a sec, but think about that. They smoked weed or did acid, went and saw a very violent movie, and then went home. That was the '70s. Nobody went up and shot a school. For those of you who don't believe that making automatic rifles illegal has affected gun crime, you're fooling yourselves.
It's the acid. More people should be on acid.
Yes, most people should be on acid.
And for our sponsors out there, I just want you all to know that Alex does not actually promote acid.
I have tried acid once and it had no effect on me.
Really?
I think I got all paper. Yeah.
So your whole life
Jesus.
has basically been one big acid trip.
No, unless you guys don't really exist. But this also reminds me that Mario was supposed to deliver upon to me a list of movies you saw while high.
Shit, let me send those right now.
Oh, you have it?
You actually made the list?
Yeah, no, I
Oh.
wrote the list out a long time ago.
I'm actually surprised that your drug-addled mind remembered that.
No, hang on. Go on and send the list. I want your opinion on the movie, too, because action.
What?
No, go.
My high lists?
No. Send your high list when you're done. Tell us what you thought of Dirty Harry. You've seen it, right?
Yeah, I've seen them.
I've worked with you, and the two times that we've worked together, it's been on action projects. So you have an eye for it. Like, what did you think of the movie as a whole, but as an action movie as well?
An eye that doesn't see color, but it's an eye nonetheless.
Okay.
Fuck it, I got nothing on that one.
I'm just surprised that's not where Jamal went with it, because he usually, anytime he talks about your eyes.
They're so great to look into.
Fucking gay.
Yes, but he'll never see you the way you see you, Jamal. Because he can't see your color.
What, slightly gray?
Go ahead.
See, I mean, I grew up watching the Dirty Harry series. My dad was, he loved his westerns and everything, and then eventually, Eastwood. So it's the epitome of like all manly men back in the day. So I watched all these movies growing up, and at the time I didn't realize how much of a impact not much, not so much as a political impact, but basically what they were trying to say back in the days. I was doing a little research on my movie right now, The Enforcer, But I mean, just in general, I mean, I'm sorry, Dirty Harry always had some sort of like greater goal and was always the shitty cop about it. You know, everybody viewed him as the bad guy, or not the bad guy, like the anti-hero. That's what
Yeah.
I guess I'm trying to get at. Um, and goddamn, he played a great one. You know, and like you were saying in your movie, that was one thing that did stick out in my mind the first time I saw it. And fucking Christ, that was God, at least 16 years ago when I saw those movies, maybe longer. Um, I mean, there was a reason why he sticks out in my mind so much because he is this strong guy who, you know, as we were saying earlier when we were talking about the art of manliness, and there's one thing that you didn't really understand or don't even agree with, which was ballroom dancing being a hobby that, you know, someone could take up. He would shoot a ballroom dancer dead, or at least give him the dirty eye, the dirty hairy eyeball. And you know that also goes into the whole PC-ness that we were discussing earlier. You know, we would he ever take ballroom dancing? Well, if the script called for it, yes, but he never really seems like the character that could do something like that. You know, I'm reading up on, well, on all the movies right now. You know, they always come up with something very influential at that time. Um, right now, I'm going over the Enforcer, and he's going over, you know, terrorist group made of disgruntled Vietnam veterans. By the way, I love that word, disgruntled. I don't know why.
Yeah, that's personality. That's why.
Yeah, more than anything else. Clearly, I'm not a dirty Harry right here, but you know, he always stood up for the right thing, and maybe he never really did it the proper way sometimes, but manly man he always was. And you know, yeah, I honestly didn't know that his character was based off of the main detective for the God, you just Zodiac Killers. I didn't even know that, Alex, so that kind of threw me off guard right now. So I mean, it seems like Dirty Harry was that quintessential manly man standing up for the right thing. Basically, he was the cowboy in modern times. Is what I guess I'm trying to say.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah.
That he is a throwback to that old cowboy character that he used to play. And in fact, in Cliché, the one scene where we see from Andy's gun point of view going across the corral to the chief and Rebecca on the other side, that I always refer to. I don't think I ever actually said it out loud, but I always thought of that shot as the Clint Eastwood shot. And it's very much because of Dirty Harry, and it's very much because of the old cowboy films that he did. And this is very much like that. He's that lone guy out there with a 6-shooter, and this is in a time when cops were just starting to get into, you know, semi-automatic handguns instead of the 6-shooters. So he still had that old style weapon, and instead of it being on his hip, he had it on a shoulder holster. But I mean, even the way he dressed, he kind of still looked like a cowboy. The only thing that was missing was that hat. Also, in this movie, this starts out one of the biggest movie cliches ever. It's the captain yelling at his subordinate. That, you know, that I don't know if they actually say, "I want your gun and badge on my desk," but they say everything but that. It's the whole, "You're the lone wolf. You're bad for this department. You're on suspension." It's that, you know, this movie kind of starts that off. I don't remember a movie before this that had that kind of dialogue in it or had that kind of dynamic between the cop and the captain. So this kind of started writing the books on what everybody else does. So this was way influential, not only on me, but on everything that came after it.
Yeah. I mean, lone character, prefers to work alone, quiet, willing to bend the rules, bad personal traits. I mean, how is what I think Dirty Harry and John McClane could probably sit down and throw back a few.
Yeah, they're. Well, you can see Dirty Harry being John McClane's dad, kind of.
What was I going to say? For a movie that's I don't know that you could get away with remaking this movie without changing the script dramatically. Like for instance, the iconic scene, the "Do you feel lucky?" punk. If you actually go back and watch this movie, and I don't know if you guys remember, that has nothing to do with the rest of the story.
No, it doesn't at all.
No, the openers to his films don't have anything to do with the rest of the film.
Yeah, it has absolutely nothing to do. He just happened to go to his favorite restaurant or a hot dog place, basically. Just happens to be across the street from a bank, and he just happens to notice it getting robbed, and so he goes over and becomes Dirty Harry.
That was kind of in one of the other films. I forget which one it's in, but he goes to a coffee shop, and he gets his coffee, and he walks out, and he takes a sip of the coffee, and he stops short and spits out the coffee that he drank. And then the shot goes back into the coffee shop, and it's being robbed. And then Dirty Harry comes through the back with his gun drawn. And the guys are like, "How did you know?" He's like, "I come in here every day for 10 years, and I get a coffee with 2 creams, 2 sugar. Today I got a black. Go ahead, make my day." That was the line in that one.
There you go.
Oh, he always has those great lines.
Yeah.
Each movie has his own tagline like that. Oh,
Yeah.
I think this is the movie, the franchise that started taglines too. Was it this or Jaws? No, Jaws came out after, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Maybe. I would have to look into that. But yeah, I mean, again, yeah, he kind of popularized it, and
if it didn't start it, it popularized it. Because can you quote like one from before?
that I was trying to think that. There's because I'm trying to think some of the influences for the Dirty Harry movie would be like the Bullet movie, which in the film that I watched, Deadpool, there's a huge chase scene through the streets of San Francisco that mirrors the chase scene in Bullet. And Bullet, I don't believe, had a catchphrase like that.
Not a lot of good films shot in San Francisco nowadays, by the way.
The Rock was probably the last really good one.
Yeah. What was I going to say? If a movie today, an action movie today, completely digressed away for like a scene that outlandish and had nothing to do with the rest of the plot, it would be lampooned by the critics and stuff. But in Dirty Harry, it gets a 98 based on over 100 reviews.
It all depends on how you write the character. If you have reason for him to do that, then the audience will accept it. If it comes out of left field or, it seems unbelievable, then yeah.
I think it does come out of left field. I mean that scene in particular.
It's from a very violent time in American history. I mean, we're just getting out of basically race riots out of the LA area and a lot of upheaval because of equal rights. And now here's a white cop with a gun to a black man's head, basically.
There's another reason why this movie couldn't get made now. Like if Dirty Harry took vigilante justice out on an African American today, this is the post Trayvon Martin world. It would be criticized to all hell.
So I'm curious, what do you guys think if Gran Torino were to come out now? Like in 6 months, we hear Gran Torino's coming out finally, or let's say next week it's coming out. How do you think it would survive nowadays?
Well, it really wasn't that long ago that it came out.
No, it wasn't.
No, but I've
but
said
a
this
lot of stuff has come out. Like,
Yeah.
A lot of stuff has happened recently.
And I've said this to you before, Alex. The gap between generations is smaller and smaller now. Somebody who's 4 years older than somebody else will not relate because they have completely different things. And I think that's with the rise. I think Facebook really took off in between Gran Torino's release and now and other things. So I think it would get it would struggle now. I think it would struggle now.
I don't think it would because it's 2008, so that's
7 years.
7 years, okay. we're talking about the way the character was written, though. He has very specific reasons why he is the way he is, and because we learn these reasons is why you accept him for being racist. And towards the end of the film, he overcomes some of that. Not all of it, but he overcomes some of it. And because of that, the fact that he learns a little bit is why we forgive him at the end for being completely racist throughout the whole thing.
Nobody's gonna see that. They're gonna hear the actual slurs he uses in that, and they're gonna say, yeah, it was used for comedic effect, and yeah, it was used as a plot point to progress the character, but you're still using it on film, and it's still they wouldn't be comfortable with it. Like, do you remember what happened with Stephen Colbert not too long ago when he offended Asians and they threatened to boycott the show? That was over just a simple joke on Twitter. Imagine what happens if Clint Eastwood, of all people, releases this movie in a wide release. Things would be worse. I mean, things have changed in the last 7 years dramatically. The rate in which things are changing, just with people being able to communicate with one another, it's staggering. And I think it has progressed enough that this movie would probably, I don't know the struggle is the right word, but it would be criticized more.
I don't think it would. Again, it has to go down to the character and how you explain what he does. When you see a joke on Twitter out of context, just the joke and no build up to it, then you get pissed off about it because all of a sudden that's a racial slur. When you see a story about a man who has grown up in a way of life that promotes the reason why he feels the way he feels, then you have sympathy for him. Nobody had any sympathy for Colbert because they didn't know where the joke came from. They just saw a joke on Twitter and took it for face value.
There was context for that, by the way. He used that on his actual live show where more people were exposed to it, and then he just reposted it on his Twitter account, and people realized that, but were still willing to just take it at that. You're having faith in that people will actually, buy into the story behind that instead of just hearing the slurs.
The people who got angry, did they see the show and see the whole context of the joke and of the bit? Or did they just see what he posted on social media?
I believe they actually cite the show in itself. So they knew where it was from.
Well, then I don't know. I never actually even saw that he posted that. So, but I don't think
Mario, what do you think?
Gran Torino would suffer. Yeah, I just said that. I don't think it would suffer the way you think it would in today's day and age.
I don't know that it would suffer. I think it would be looked under a more powerful microscope.
If this movie were to be made more contemporary, it would be about a man coming home from Saudi Arabia or Kuwait or whatever war is being fought over in the Middle East now, and then being in a neighborhood that just so happens to have a mosque, and then being down on people of the Muslim faith. And then through that, he would learn how they're not all bad, which is the main point of this story, is that they're not all bad. There are some bad apples, but not everybody is bad. So it's because of his experience in the war and experiences with the gang is that he's down on Asian people.
And I completely agree with you on that. What we're discussing is whether or not it would be received well, and you're having faith in that the audience or the people that would criticize this movie would appreciate that story for what it was. I think those people, if they had it in them to actually criticize this movie, would just walk in, hear the first, gook or chink, and then,
Unless they left at that point, yes, they would complain. If they stayed to watch the end of the film, they would get the moral of the story.
It's like the Colbert thing. I think they knew exactly where the joke was from, and they just, despite knowing all of the stuff around it, they still just didn't like the fact that the joke was made at all, and made it a point to protest it. And I think that would happen now too, because I don't think you fully grasp just how overreaching Generation PC has gotten.
No, I understand it, but when you have a moral at the end of the story, if it's a movie about just making jokes about Asian people, like look at Adam Sandler's movie. He made jokes about and the movie hasn't come out yet, so we don't know what the ending is, but all we know about this is he makes fun of Native Americans. And because of this, Native Americans and a lot of other people are upset about it. If this is a movie about a guy coming back from the American Indian War, getting down on Native Americans, and then learning that they're not all bad, kind of like What's-His-Face did in Dances with Wolves, then as long as you have that uplifting end to the story, people will buy it and accept it for what it is, a guy who learned his lesson. The Colbert story doesn't have that ending to it. He told a joke, period, end of story. So there was no redemption for him as far as the character goes. So of course people are going to get mad at him because there is no, but then I learned that not all Asian people are bad. There was not that end to the Colbert story. That's why his is not widely received and why people complain about it.
I think you're choosing to have faith in folks, and that's fine. I don't share that outlook. I think, if they were going to hate, they're going to hate anyway.
So Mario.
Okay, so
what's new with your
on.
Cats? What are your cats doing today?
Yeah, well, like that's gonna save the fucking thing now.
We'll have a little cat break, and then we'll get into the Enforcer, which is also about Asian people.
No, what do you mean save it? That's the best part of the show. Us arguing is the best part of the show.
It's the only thing the show does.
We're here to debate and to discuss. We've discussed. Now we're debating.
That's because he's disgusting. Don't worry, I'll cut it down. It'll be a 2-minute discussion, and then we'll go on to your cats, which will encompass the rest of the show. So Mario, tell us about your cats.
That's how we're gonna. That's why. Anytime there's like a lull in the conversation, we'll just ask about your cats.
Yeah, okay. I guess that's what it is at this point in time. Nothing, I guess. I mean, it's hot now, so they melt. Yeah, see, actually, it's funny. I was rubbing one out the other day, and
Jesus Christ, bro! The fuck?
There's no easy way to go into this one.
Holy shit!
But there is this comparison between actors and actresses, mainly nowadays, when they go to like the award shows. They're always dressed in these really cut, tight, form-fitting clothes that are. It's essentially they're naked kind of thing. And then the comparison between the porn stars who were in like proper nightgown attire, these nice, beautiful, flowy dresses that covered everything, but were at the same time very sensual, not even sexual, but they looked very, and it was very accentuating for the women. I'm not too sure if you guys want to look up the comparisons between the two, but I don't know why, but it just made me laugh a little. And that's what that picture, that was the first thing that came to my mind when I saw Rose McGowan in the VMA dress with Manson.
So you're telling me,
off the top of my head, I would say it's because starlets in Hollywood have to play homogenized versions of goody goodies, no matter how controversial the role is. Because they can't go past rated R.
Miley Cyrus.
Yeah.
A few exceptions here and there.
No. I'm saying like she did that really hard.
Well,
she went from goody goody to immediate, just like whoa.
Right. But they spend all the time. They spend all the time being homogenized goody goodies. That when they get the chance to, they go all out and go super, slutty. Whereas the really slutty porn stars don't get to often be dressed nice.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
There is something to that you dress slutty because you don't get the chance to, and then you dress nice because you don't get the chance to. But I must say, the story that I heard Mario say was he was masturbating to pictures of women on the red carpet in ball gowns.
Like he must love Oscar season.
Actually, hold on. I don't even remember how I got onto that. But
how do you get on anything on the internet, really? Like
honestly,
you start off looking at like Smurfs, and somehow you end up watching like Bukkake or something.
Jesus Christ!
That's a day in your life.
No, I'm just that's an example.
And currently in Mario's life, starts to masturbate. He sees some pictures of beautiful women in a ball gown. He cries a little bit, and then goes back to masturbate.
Hey, the tears are good lube. It's fine. I don't even remember how I got onto the pictures
You know
of
what? It doesn't even
that.
matter because what I'm thinking and what our audience is thinking is way better story than anything you could come up with.
Okay.
Let's just let the imagination go there.
I'm just saying.
Then do
Oh,
so.
did you guys hear about that UA Bowl thing that happened a couple weeks ago?
The what?
Wait, I sort of I remember.
Okay.
I can't remember. Go
Okay.
ahead.
So UA Bowl, director of
Oh,
Such classics
movies.
as
as
Fucking crap.
all the worst of the video game movies.
Yes.
Blood Rain.
He did Blood Rain, House of the Dead, um, House of the Dead 2, if I'm not mistaken, as well. Fucking Christ, I can't even remember the other ones that he did. But you know, he's a pretty prolific
Outhouse,
something.
Septic Tank.
He's made movies. Jesus Christ, there's a Far Cry movie.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even know that. Anyhow, that just must be the game. But anywho, he
Postal,
does.
Rampage.
Yes, he does movies. I mean, he's consistently worked for a while. I'm actually looking at his producing credit right now, and it essentially starts in mid '90s and doesn't stop until now. But he did a crowdfunding for one of his last movies, which was Rampage 3. My first question was, there was a Rampage 1, and apparently a lot of people like that movie.
It's actually not bad.
I've never heard of, never seen the movie. It's got like a 6.5 on IMDb right now. Again, UA Bowl directed it, and it's like supposed to be some action-packed, like crime movie thriller, obviously, because you know action-packed and thriller always go together. But when he was trying to make Rampage 3, he did up a, was it Kickstarter, Jamal, or was it okay? He tried to do a Kickstarter and made dick for money. Nobody supported him. Nobody wanted to support him. So he went on YouTube and he essentially said, fuck you to every single filmmaker and to every single producer, director, actor, EP, anything in the film industry. He basically said, fuck you for not believing in me and for not giving me money to make Rampage 3. And that he was done making films.
Thank God.
What's funny is there's not really a Rampage 2. If you look at his credits, there's Rampage, and then there's Rampage 3.
Click on Rampage and maybe somebody else directed it.
No, it's called Capital Punishment, Rampage.
Ugh, that sounds like a bad porno. Rampage, come on.
Yeah.
I'll rub it one out.
He did Assault on Wall Street, which wasn't bad either. For an Un Bao movie, they were pretty good. But speaking of Un Bao, there was actually something I wanted to talk to you about specifically, Mario, or ask you about specifically.
Greedo, what?
Apparently, you have a water shortage going on in California right now.
Oh, hell yes, we do.
Yeah, and they've just pulled a bunch of water off the shelves because of an Ebola scare.
Yes, they did. I heard about that.
So tell us, what are you guys drinking now since you have absolutely no water in California?
I just put my pee out in the street and let it evaporate, you know, the bad parts or the good parts, and then I drink that.
Right on.
No, but essentially it's the only places that are actually green left are Hollywood, Melrose, Beverly, some parts of Malibu, but like the richer, I hate to say it like that, but the richer areas are the only places that actually have water in an exorbitant amount to pay for their beautiful lawns. It's basically lawn porn after a while. No, it is. I mean, they're these beautiful things that are there, and they're an extravagant use of money. Whereas, well, granted, the land keeper of my area uses a shitload of water. Like the grass is always green around here, at my apartment. The bushes and the trees are all lively. She even waters, the cement every once in a while. But I mean, all the hill. Like when I first moved out here, Alex, you were with me for those first couple of week or so.
Yeah.
Do you remember everything being very green and very lush and just, all in all, it was very beautiful out here. It looks like Arizona now.
Nice.
It's actually quite scary. I was doing some reading on it the other day. They're saying in about 5 years, if California doesn't get the proper amount of water that it should be getting, it'll be dry. And not like, oh, it'll have some amounts of water because, people saved it or we'll be able to buy water. No, it'll be bone dry. All the lakes will have dried up. The the reservoirs will all have dried up at this point in time. And they're going to have to do something they're going to have to do something drastic in order to save the water and to, have people still live out here.
The last I heard was that they're going to actually start looking into processing the ocean water.
Yes, they are. They're going to start doing that.
Actually, did that where I lived. We had one main bridge connecting like the capital, which is where I lived at, to the rest of the island, and it collapsed, and our water lines went out. So we have an army base there, for a U.S. Army base there, the Seabees, and they actually brought in these machines that desalinated the water, and we had like drinking water and stuff.
Yeah. Which, again, I'm pretty sure someone's going to find a market for and start selling them for a pretty penny out here in California.
Oh, definitely.
Oh, yeah. Yep, and things are going to get more expensive, more than likely. Because of all this water shortage in California, all of the crops are starting to suffer. Mm-hmm. In fact, that article I was reading was stating that it is now California, or it was passed down to the farmers of California that they need to stop using so much water. Now think about that for a second.
Yeah.
The state of California is telling the farmers of California to stop watering so much.
Yeah, no, I get it.
It made me scratch my head for a minute.
Well, in Las Vegas area, or in Las Vegas County, they had the same thing going on where they have a shortage because, it's in the desert.
Yeah.
They were actually paying people. The government was paying people to remove their lawns and replace it with colored rocks. Kind of like how we have lawns out here, which are just rocks. Yeah. So I'm thinking that's probably what the next step will be.
Which I think needs to happen.
Yeah.
This is a desert. Arizona's a desert. Nevada, Texas, some parts of Oklahoma, like Panhandle part. Like, we're all desert.
Yeah.
And we don't treat it like that. We treat it like, it's Seattle, where it rains. Well, where it doesn't rain less than it does every year. Mm-hmm. The amount of times that it rains out here in California, it doesn't rain that much in Seattle or Washington or, state north of us. And again, it goes into, a lot of new money is the easiest way I can put it.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, in reality, they should pay them to pull up the lawn, and I would just put in like a fake lawn myself, because the fake lawn technology has come along so well that it actually looks pretty real. They even put little brown spots in them to make it really look realistic.
Yeah. Although that'd be really funny. There's like a little mechanical gopher that pops its head up every once in a while.
The one that looks like the one from Caddyshack.
Yeah, it just gets up and dances on it really quick.
That would be awesome. So, do you want to go on now and talk about the Enforcer?
Yes.
Mario?
No.
Yes, let's hear about how you were supposed to prepare for this week.
You can go ahead, little guy. It's okay.
Well, I did watch the movie. It's just I don't know why I didn't think of. I don't know why I didn't think of. Hey, this is an Asian guy instead of, the main cowboy for 60s, 70s, and parts of the 80s. Apparently, Asian guy is the same to me.
Or you were probably just thinking, oh, it's in San Francisco. There's Asian people in San Francisco. This must be the guy.
There's at least one hippie in the Enforcers, so I mean, it all works out. So I apologize to our apparently multiple fans. Last week we said that we're all going to watch the trilogy, I guess, from what we watched of the Dirty Harrys. So we did, and my brain just said, fuck you too. And I watched The Enforcer, which was from 1995, starring Jet Li.
Well, I hear that it is Jet Li doing an adaptation of Clint Eastwood's Enforcer. So, instead of, a six-shot 44 Magnum, I'm sure he uses a sword, and,
Yeah, no, it's a 44-inch long sword. It's explicitly said.
And I'm sure he just sits there and talks bad about white people and black people.
He doesn't say anything. He just goes round eyes and then just walks away. This movie, my movie was enjoyable. I don't know about you guys.
We're just at a loss for words.
Oh, please continue. How did the movie make you feel?
I don't know what to say.
Jamal, we get it. You're racist. I'm apparently Asian-oriented.
No.
Yes, he saw a film of his people, and you can't fault Mark.
It's not even the right people.
I'm racist.
It's true.
You watched
I'm racist.
This isn't my Asian.
You watched a movie of somebody's people. What difference does it make whose people they were?
My eyes don't bend that way; they bend the other.
I don't even know why that was said.
Wait, who said that?
You,
Jack.
I didn't say that. Okay. I was quoting Family Guy.
Yeah, but you didn't say, to quote Family Guy.
I thought you guys were hip and you knew.
You,
I'm sorry. I'm still over here shocked at the idea that you were so off base with the movie that we were supposed to watch.
I had Enforcer written down, so I watched Enforcer. You understand?
We were there for that conversation.
I know, and I heard the entire thing.
We said Clint Eastwood multiple times.
Oh, I know. Trust me, I know.
So Jamal, how did this movie stack up with the other Dirty Harry movies?
Oh my god!
Now I know the Dirty Harry was played by a different actor in this one.
As a matter of fact, we said Dirty Harry more than we said The Enforcer. So I'm not entirely sure where you got Jet Li from.
Because I went into IMDb and I was like, okay, what year is The Enforcer? I typed in The Enforcer, and it goes by date, and The Enforcer Jet Li version popped up first, and my brain went, oh, those are the types of letters that create the word enforcer. So I clicked it.
Wait,
and by clicking it,
did it actually give you a year when it came out?
Yeah, 1995 for The Enforcer.
And there wasn't
1976.
Hang on. And a button didn't, a bell didn't go off in your head saying, 1995. How old was Clint Eastwood at this point? Maybe he
Again, if you would listen to me, the letters that spell out enforcer popped up first, and my brain immediately went, aha, you've done it. You've done your detective work, Mario.
I have just typed in Enforcer into IMDb, and the Enforcer I typed into IMDb, and the first one that came up is the Clint Eastwood 1976 movie.
Right. And I did not type in the Enforcer. I just typed in Enforcer. And it came up this.
I'm at a loss.
You
And
wanna
when
watch the
I
movie?
type in Enforcer, the first movie to come up is the 1976 Clint Eastwood Time Daily movie. In fact, the Enforcer with Jet Li is the third movie to come up. The second one is Bail Enforcer 2011,
Who's in
starring
that one?
absolutely nobody. Trish Stratus and Frank J. Zappa.
Don't you ever call Trish Stratus a nobody again.
She's nobody. Dude, it's the first one. No, seriously, the first one that pops up for me is the Jet Li one.
Really?
Yeah.
Trish Stratus. Let's see what else she was in. WWF Raw,
UHF.
Bounty Hunter, Gridlock, King of the Ring.
She's a professional wrestler.
I will go ahead and stand behind my earlier statement.
Don't you ever call her a nobody again.
Nobody.
Fucking gotcha, Jamal.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm not even paying attention to you guys. Because you're not paying attention to when we're selecting movies, I've just been Googling hot girls on the internet for the last,
So, in other words, Jamal has been rubbing one out for the past 10 minutes.
Well, no. I have the decency to wait till afterwards and then not inform people that you were rubbing one out the other day.
Now, ever since you planted that in his mind, now all he can think about is, penises.
Yes.
Again, I'm barely paying attention to you.
So I'll just go on with my movie, The Dead.
Please.
That was actually a Clint Eastwood movie.
Really?
Yes.
Now, this starred Ryan Reynolds, and it was a little weird that he was running around with a couple of swords, and I don't really understand why.
Oh, my God.
So, The Deadpool, 1985? 1988. 1988, the last of the Dirty Harry movies. The shortest one and the one that did not do as good at the box office. And he gets teamed up this time with an Asian guy who knows karate because stereotypes. But
nothing of those cliches, right?
Yeah.
Mario,
What's up, dude?
do you know karate?
Do you?
A little bit.
Fair enough.
Just
Dude,
okay.
The best part of the Deadpool was the scene between Jim Carrey and Liam Neeson.
What?
Yeah. Let that just sink in there for a second.
What?
And it wasn't a comedy buddy cop film starring those two.
What? I'm looking that up.
Jim Carrey played the first person to die who was on the Deadpool list. The Deadpool is a pool or a list or a betting group of celebrities that you think will die. So you come up with 8 people that you think will die, and at the end of whatever time frame, whoever has the most dead celebrities on their list wins money. It's a pool. It's a Deadpool. So Jim Carrey played basically the Axl Rose character, and during the filming of the movie that he was in, he overdoses on heroin, but it's a murder. So there is a scene between those two people because Liam Neeson is the director of the movie. So his character has a much bigger part. And the nice thing about this movie is this is the first time Liam Neeson was in an American film, I believe, and he used his actual accent, which I don't think it was. Heather says it was his actual accent. I think he was doing an English accent. But whatever, he was not trying to be American. He was actually talking with a more native accent, which was kind of cool. And he sported this little ponytail. And when I say ponytail, little ponytail, it was like 2 feet long. But it was so obvious, not connected to any part of his hair. It was just like rubber band into whatever hair it could hold on to. and he was making a movie called Hotel Satan, which by far is the best name for a movie, and I want to steal that.
That is a good one, actually.
But the best part of this, and this is the first thing that drugged me out of this movie, was that in Jim Carrey's trailer where he ODs is a poster for the movie they currently are making, Hotel Satan. And I'm like, no movie makes a one sheet before filming ends. So that's how big of a movie nerd I am.
That was your first thought.
That was my first thought.
I'm proud of you.
So, watching this movie, within the first 10 minutes, Dirty Harry Callahan, our hero, shoots an unarmed, a man who tried to kill him, dropped his gun, was running the other way, begging for mercy. Dirty Harry Callahan shoots him in the back, kills him.
Fair enough.
This is another example of our hero cop who gets suspended on the job for being him. Like, he has done how many movies? Like 5, 6 movies of Dirty Harry. They know who this guy is. How does he still have a job at this point in his life? He's the lone wolf cop who gets a partner. And again, like I said, he's an Asian partner because they're trying to PC him up a little bit and soften his image with the Asian population. So they give him an Asian partner, which is funny because he says, his classic line, all my partners either die or end up in the hospital, which eventually he does. But he does know karate, and he kicks the ass of another guy that Dirty Harry Callahan was going to shoot in the back, just didn't get the chance to. This one had the line in it, and I think this was the breakout line for this, which kind of shows you how off their game they were with this movie. Dirty Harry Callahan says to a guy, do you have kids? Or do you have children? Something like that. The guy says no, and Dirty Harry Callahan says, lucky for them. Now, some guy used this line on me and thought he was cool by saying it. And now the story behind that is that I was working at a call center for a cable internet service that didn't really work. So the guy calls up and he wants credit.
Was it AOL?
No, but it did start with an A, and we assume that the acronyms for the company were at this time because every day the rules changed.
Fair enough. Okay.
So we believe that the initials that made up the name of the company stood for at this time.
Yeah.
So this guy wanted credit, and at that time we were not allowed to give credit for his particular problem. He had an outage, but he never called us to tell us he had an outage, so we never documented his account that he had an outage. Even though this was something that was known in his area, for anybody who has cable internet service, when the cable goes out, immediately call your cable company so you have record of it going out. And then after it comes up, you have to immediately call to tell them to credit your account, because they're not going to do this automatically because they're all dicks.
Oh, well,
so the guy
telling us that.
So the guy assumed because it was an outage in his area that we would just automatically, credit them. And I was telling him, no, we can't do that. And I was taking supervisor calls at this time. Now, I wasn't a supervisor. I was just taking supervisor calls. It's a lateral promotion. So I got to have more fun with the people on the phone because I got to say no a little more gruffly than the average agent. So I told him that there's no way we're going to give you credit for this situation because you did not call us up to document that you had an outage. Oh, but it was a known outage. Doesn't matter. You have to call us and document it. I don't know if it was affecting you. You may have been out of town. Who knows? He's like, it doesn't matter, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, it does matter. That, company says this. This is what I enforce. And he's like, do you have kids? I'm like, I don't see what that has to do with anything. Do you have kids? No, I don't have kids. Lucky for them. I'm like, yeah, it is lucky for them. Click. I hung up on him. Which, the end of that story is that he called back and he had to wait in a 2-hour queue because everybody calls in to get credit. So I added 2 hours onto his day dealing with it. So I felt kind of good about that.
You showed him, buddy.
Yeah.
Why? He still didn't get his credit. And I ended the phone call.
Who's the bigger man here?
Well, me, because I didn't cast any aspersions about how his children would be or not be. I just ended the phone call.
Fair enough. All right.
I chose not to argue with him.
Okay, so I have a story for you guys.
Go for it.
I was still living in Tucson at this time. Drove out to junkyards, past the old plain boneyards, Alex. I'm pretty sure you know where those are.
Yeah.
And while I was in the junkyard, this guy car comes in and he wants to buy it back because he wants to fix it up. Older car, is all I can tell.
Mm-hmm.
And so the guy's like, okay, no problem. Well, would you mind helping me? The guy behind the counter is like, no, help me then. What make, model, and color is your car? And the guy goes, blah, 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 car, so-and-so year. And he goes, it's clear colored. Which made me stop. And like I was leaving the place with the things that I needed from the junkyard. I'm stop. And I turned back. And I'm like, did he just say clear colored? And I happened to glance over to the guy behind the counter, and he just looks at the guy with this confused face, and he goes, "Clear, your car color is clear." Then there was this good 2 to 3 minute conversation how apparently clear is also referred to as white.
What?
I saw that coming.
Yeah.
See, the other things I would have accepted would have been he was driving a DeLorean, so technically his paint would have been just a clear coat, or because it's a brushed aluminum car, or he would have actually been driving a car that had a clear plastic body on it, which would have been awesome.
Right, something like that. I'd been like, okay, I understand that, but when he said, "Oh, it's the same color as the paper," Jesus Christ, this man's goddamn, he's good.
I'm going to just start referring to myself as clear on the next job application.
Please
Sorry,
do.
sir, you didn't get the job. It's because I'm clear, isn't it?
It's because I'm see-through.
Because I'm translucent.
Can I call you Whitey?
No,
Then
because that would be racist.
There you go with your PC again.
I am Caucasian or Polish American. You choose.
Yeah, dude. He hails from Caucasia.
Yeah. That was a gay joke.
No, it wasn't. Just because you're gay doesn't mean all jokes are gay.
Oh, that was awesome.
Just because I'm drunk doesn't mean that made sense, okay? Just saying.
So, going back to Deadpool, this was the most cliche of all of them. I have to say that everything that they started off with in Dirty Harry, they continued on, and by the point that they did Deadpool, I think it was just one too many. And
so wait, if Dirty Harry was the beginning of that sort of trope and sort of influenced the ones that came after, did Dirty Harry in essence become cliche using cliches of itself, like cliches that it invented?
It became, yes, a cliche of its own devices, basically. And it even went so far, and this is where the movie really jumped the shark for me, is that they did a Bullet-esque chase through San Francisco with Dirty Harry Callahan in a car, and then a remote control car chasing them down.
That's awesome.
Was it a Mustang?
No, the remote control car was a Corvette. They were all GM models.
Okay, then it's not a cliche then.
It is a cliche because the filmmakers fully admit that this chase scene was inspired by, quote unquote, Steve McQueen's Bullet.
There you go. It was inspired. It's not a cliche.
But it is a cliche because everybody does it in San Francisco.
It's an homage.
They did it.
Did they go over the
the funny
the
thing
undershot where the car jumps up and when it hits the ground, it sparks fly out everywhere, and then it's all in slow motion, and then it just picks back up? Did they do that?
They didn't do the slow motion part, but they did everything else with the remote control car. Like when I say remote control car, I'm talking about one that's like a foot and a half long. It's not a full size car. It's
Right,
a
right.
I don't ever want to see this movie anymore.
It's and Jim Carrey and Liam Neeson actually have the discussion we just had, whether it's cliche or it's an homage, because the movie that they were doing, they were ripping off The Exorcist because it was the music video portion of the movie, and don't even ask me that. I'm assuming it was a horror musical that they were filming, but there was a doll in the bed that picks up, the head spins around and spits out pea soup. And then Jim Carrey says, I wish I had a director who was, who had some fresh ideas instead of ripping off old horror movies. And then Liam Neeson is all like, it's an homage. So they, in and of themselves, foreshadowed everything they did, calling it an homage to everything else that came before them. But by this point, it kind of became a cliche in and of itself. All right, and I guess that's it for Maker's
So the cats.
God bless those cats.
You can only pull out the cats for tense moments, not just for boring moments.
Oh.
But whatever. I mean, fuck you guys then.
I can't help it. I've been getting hammered, and we're 3 hours late on this, and I have been up since 4
a.m.
Are you?
Or p.m.
a.m.
Oh, well.
Why?
That's not really my fault or my problem.
No. I was ready for this at 7, at
8:30. You pushed it back to 8:30.
8:30.
And you actually were a little late. You were like almost 8:45 by the time you called.
No, I was on there. I just, for whatever reason, you weren't picking up.
Sure. Whatever reason I wasn't picking up.
No, I was on there.
All
right.
Did you guys hear that?
What?
I farted.
No, wait. I do have a question about the film. Does Eastwood seem engaged in it? Because this is his 5th one and his last one. Like, does he seem like he's actually putting forth an effort?
Oh, yeah. Just as much effort as he put forth in any of them. It's the same kind of deadpan that he has. I mean, he has a little bit of the romantic interlude with the reporter girl, Patricia Clarkson. He has a romantic interlude with her, and he saves her life, and he guns down the bad guys. And it's very much... They made a formula, and they stuck to it, and the formula just... Like I said, it was just one movie too many, but he was engaged in it. He did look like he was having fun with it. He said in an interview that he likes the character. It's like an old friend that he visits from time to time.
I've read that on the Wikipedia page as well.
Yeah, so he still enjoyed doing it, and I think he realized that it was time to stop doing it. I think he wasn't forced into it. It never felt forced. It felt like he wanted to do it. It just he could have held out for a better script, I think.
I would. There's stuff working against it just based on your description to me. Like, for instance, the remote control car, that's really working against it for me. But
well, I should probably mention that the remote control car was full of explosives. Although I think the explosion
that just makes it worse. That's actually making it worse.
Firecrackers don't mean it's an actual explosion.
Well, the explosion that happened on screen, I don't think is capable of the amount of explosives you would be able to fit in this car because it wasn't very big.
But
maybe if you got it underneath the gas tank, maybe. But
learning that Eastwood was really into it, and it's not like this movie has a terrible rating. It's a 52 on Rotten Tomatoes, and Roger Ebert gave it a pass. But what was I saying? Yeah, learning that Eastwood was into it and was not like he wasn't doing it for the paycheck or anything like that works for me. Because lately, have you guys seen any of Robert De Niro's movies as of late?
No.
I saw The Family. That was really good.
I mean, he's picking up paychecks at this point. Like I watched, God, what was it? I saw the last Fockers movie. Like, he really does not seem like he wants to be there at all.
Well, I don't think he wanted to be there for the first Fokker movie.
Yeah, seriously.
Oh, and he's like that in a bunch of movies now. Like he's barely engaged in anything.
Watch The Family.
What was that? He did a horror movie, a thriller, not too long ago with Dakota Fanning. That was a tough watch, not because it was a thriller or anything, just because
No, he
Robert
wasn't
De
the right.
Niro.
He wasn't the right person for that role.
Robert De Niro just looked like he wanted to be anywhere else in the world.
He's way too old to be Dakota Fanning's dad.
And beyond that, I think he thinks himself better than those things, and it's sad. He's a genuinely good actor. To see him so disconnected from the role it really just seems like him repeating stuff instead of actually acting. He's just repeating back a script to you instead of actually, emoting and putting feeling behind the words.
No, I'm telling you, watch The Family. That he's good in that. Him and Michelle Pfeiffer and Tommy Lee Jones, and they're really good.
Tommy Lee Jones is another person who I think is really not into stuff anymore.
I've never gotten the fact that he's into anything. The only movie I've ever seen him in that he looked like he was into was The Fugitive. That was it.
Yeah, that's it. Fugitive and U.S. Marshals, but mostly because those were his. They were based solely around him.
No, I didn't even get that from U.S. Marshals. I got the feeling that he was all like, "Oh, we're doing this again."
I got the sense that, oh look, I'm the star of this.
We better make this guy something other, so I know that it's a different guy. But no, watch The Family. It's a really good film.
But you've seen De Niro as of late being disconnected like that, right?
Trying to see what he has done recently.
Grudge Match, he seemed to be there, more or less just because it was a comedy, and I think him and Stallone, for whatever reason, just kind of hit it off and had really good comedic timing with one another.
See, that I want to see. He's going to be in a movie next year called Dirty Grandpa.
Yeah, it's him and God, what's his face from High School Musical?
He was pretty good in American Hustle, although I didn't like that movie all that well.
Again, it's another movie that was reviewed amazingly, and you didn't like it.
No, it felt it was all done ad-libbed, and it felt that way. It felt like there was no purpose to it, which is really weird because it's based on a true story. So it was a very weird film for me.
Maybe they were getting meta with you and just going, life is purposeless. We are here and then we are gone. How are your cats?
No, you can do better than that. I watched Life of Pi. I didn't enjoy it as much as most people did. I thought it was great work for green screen stuff. It's fan-fucking-tastic work for green screen. But I still don't see how it could win an award like that. And, this also goes to Gravity as well. I watched the movie. Again, this is my own personal opinion, Jamal. I didn't like it.
You guys are good. You guys are fine. You're free not to like it.
And that's all it is. Like, I didn't think that movie deserved as much as awards that it did. I don't think it, I honestly don't feel that it should have gotten those awards. Mind you, it's only a PG-13, and a lot of people are just raving over it. But again, as you're saying, money doesn't lie. And that's where I start to get a little iffy, because I didn't think the story was that great. It was shot beautifully. And, it was lit great, and the CGI stuff was fantastic. But it was just a pretty picture to me. And that's all it was. Fucking what did Gravity win? Everything, didn't it?
Apparently got
nominated
director
for everything, but I think all it took home was the director.
Did
it win director?
It took some technical stuff. I think it got special effects and sound mixing and whatnot.
And see, I believe those. That movie did a great job with the sound mixing. It did a great job with the cinematography. Because who was it? Carry On.
Alfonso Cuarón.
Alfonso, thank you, directed it, and he's always been a solid director as well. I've you know, I've always enjoyed his work. Fucking Children of Men.
Great
You know,
movie.
Yeah.
shout out to the fetus. Fucking. Oh, he did that Mexican movie, or is that Spanish titled movie?
Y tu mami también.
That's it. Yeah. Fucking, I love that movie. It was a great film. It was weird and just off kilter the entire time, but I loved the movie. Holy shit, he did Prisoner of Azkaban?
Yeah, you didn't know that?
What? No.
Yeah.
What? So the Sorting Hat was a sorting sombrero.
Racism.
I made Alex laugh. I can get away with it.
You made the white guy laugh at minorities. Yeah, that's
But
tough to do.
you do realize that Mario's part Mexican, so he can do Mexican jokes.
No, sir, you have to choose one.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do.
That's like saying, do you want chicken strips or fries?
Do you want chicken strips or fries?
The answer is yes. That is the answer.
Good man. That's the right answer.
It's like the Seinfeld episode where the doctor, the dentist, was converting religion so he can tell Jewish jokes too.
Oh God!
What?
And you know who that dentist was, played by?
Bryan Cranston.
Bryan Cranston.
Rose McGowan.
Rose McGowan played the dentist in the movie. Well, you know why he got the role in
Breaking Bad,
don't you?
Why?
Because he killed a guy.
No, really.
That sounds like something Walter White would do.
You really don't know why he got that role? Because they didn't want him for it because of Malcolm in the Middle. They wanted John Cusack to play Walter White. He got the role because of the episode of The X-Files he was on, which was written and directed by the guy who did Breaking Bad.
No fucking way.
Yes. And he's like, no, I swear to God, and watch that episode. It is an amazing episode. And the creator, what's his face? It was all like, no, this is the guy. Yeah, Gillian. Gillian was like, no, this is the guy. He can do this part. And they're like, no, he's a comedian. He's like, here's a short list of actors that you will go to get. And every single one of them had prior commitments. He couldn't get any of them. And so he was like, look, I can't get any of them. It's legit. I didn't screw this up. Let's do Bryan Cranston. And they're like, okay, whatever. It's your funeral.
And then he turns out to be probably one of the best actors in the last 2 decades.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, he did a fantastic job.
I mean, if you watch...
Well, I do have to say, though, that John Cusack is a really good actor, but he's kind of suffering from Mickey Rourke syndrome. He's a really good actor that's just not getting good roles. Where's his wrestler?
It was called High Fidelity.
No, I said good actor not getting good roles. What's the last good role he's been given in the last 15 years?
Give me a second.
No, not that weird Edgar Allan Poe one, which was marketed like it was going to be like Sherlock Holmes with Robert Downey Jr. Like a reinvention and to try to make him into an action hero or something like that. Despite
the marketing, that was a good film.
Yeah, what I'm getting is that it suffers from the same thing that Fight Club suffered. Fight Club was marketed as an action movie about fight scenes and stuff, where it was really a psychological drama.
The Number Station, not to cut you off, but The Number Station, he was really good at.
Right, but again, is it the kind of thing that's bowling, getting people's attention? Is it getting nominated for stuff? No. But again,
they only do 10 nominations, and how many movies per year?
No. A good quality actor not getting the kind of roles that would get his name out there and would get him to work with other quality talent like good directors.
Hot Tub Time Machine.
Fucking kill yourself.
Hey, that was a good movie. It was funny, and all the parts that was funny.
No, Mario, he's right. That was a good movie, only because it's based in the 80s.
But what I dislike is that he didn't come back for the sequel. Uppity bitch.
There was a sequel.
Hot Tub Time Machine 2. So we decided on Terminator 1 and Terminator 2 to do a comparison on, and then ID4 for the 4th of July.
Yes.
Okay.
An extra day off and extra few viewers.
And, Mario, by the way, the title of the last episode that I posted was suggested by you, so I used it.
Oh God! Hold on, Alex. Where can I go to look at
Actually,
the name of
you could go to see this at mof.ninja. We also have a comment section there. That
Did you just get it? Did you just see it?
Yeah, I just loaded.
mof.ninja, where you can comment on that title. What is the title?
So
he can be the effing floor.
So when we were discussing Terminator 2 and how cool versus scary it was, I cited the fact that it's scary because the Terminator T-1000 could be anything. He could be the fucking floor. And Mario's like, no, that has to be the title of this week's episode.
There you go.
So I didn't do that for the previous week, even though you had a good suggestion for it. I forgot. But this week I did that in honor of you.
That's fucking funny.
So
what do you guys think of that title? Let us know at mof.ninja.
So if you guys ever, somebody says something really good and you want to do it as a title for the show, just holler it out.
Yeah, because we have a dick all for commenters this week or last week.
Because it's barely up. Give them time.
Yeah, I expect all of our foreign listeners and your brother to listen to us.
Yes, please. Those of you in foreign countries who have been listening to us, go ahead and leave a message, even if it is in your native tongue. Thanks to Google, we can have it translated.
And then Jamal will read it.
And then Jamal will read it in a funny accent.
Yeah.
Apparently that's the only one he knows, but
yeah,
he will read it in a funny German accent. So
I was going for Norwegian, but okay.
Oh, that was Norwegian?
I'll work on it.
Yeah, I apologize to our Norwegian folk.
Actually, can you tell which country they're listening from?
Actually, I can if you give me a couple minutes. Thanks to Libsyn, who is the hosting site for the MP3s, I can actually get a lot of interesting data. I don't know if it's useful.
Where can you post those? Where do you post those MP3s, by the way?
You can find those on Stitcher. You can find those on iTunes, and of course, you can go over to our website, mof.ninja. And there you can also find the show notes, what we've talked about, who our guest speaker was, like last week, Heather Woodward. Find out all about her and her website and her credentials. Plus, you can also find movies that we talk about, because I do put links to the movies that we talk about to Amazon. And the nice part about this is that if you click on that Amazon link and purchase or rent the movie, you're helping out the show. So if you like the show and you like the movies that we talk about, go on over to mof.ninja, click on one of those movies, and help us out a little bit.
Yeah, and that works out great, because when you go to mof.ninja, click on those movies, you get to enjoy a good movie, and we get to be able to make a better show.
Exactly.
There.
Hey, Alex, where did you put the thing, like our bios?
There is, off to the right, you should see a white lettering that says About Us.
Like on the bottom?
No, on the top.
No, there isn't.
Mario, plug the show.
But I don't know where the About Us is. On our website, mof.ninja.
That was so funny.
I know, right? Like, so far, you and I are the only ones that have been plugging it. He's just been sitting there listening to us as we plug
I'm trying to find the fucking About Us section. Oh, apparently my Skype thing hides it.
Where are you looking for it?
Oh, there you go.
Where are you looking for it?
You found it.
I found it. It's just...
That was me opening a door for him to plug the show. Never mind.
What?
Exactly.
Oh, God, dude. That's not a flattering picture of us, Jamal.
I know.
You guys didn't say anything. It was a flattering picture of you.
Wait, is there a new picture on there?
Yeah, in the About Us section.
I haven't got. Oh my god!
Did you
You
not?
should go to it.
Do you
It's pretty
not-
funny.
Do you not like your picture, Mario?
Dude, I got ball chin hair.
That is one of the worst
You
cases
son of a bitch!
of testicle chin I've ever seen there, Mario.
You son of a bitch! Why do you have me in text?
That's a good picture of you. What? You don't like that?
I look like a dork with those sleeves.
You look like you work at Roadhouse.
What the fuck? You
Well-
son of a bitch!
Well, you guys never sent me pictures, so I had to go in and find those ones. So I already used one of you in Cliché, so check this out.
You son of a bitch!
Are you kidding? I love mine. Mine's fucking funny. Jamal's even funnier though.
I can't take it anymore. I'm starting off my own thing.
If you want a different picture, give me a picture to use. You just gave me words.
I don't have a picture currently.
How are you an actor and you don't have headshots? There should be a
Yeah.
headshot of you right there.
It's a money thing.
Yeah, well, it takes money to make money. Okay.
And how are we making money, guys? By having people go to mof.ninja and listen to us.
That was blatant. That was at least we're trying to be corny, clever when the way we introduced ours. Yours is just blatant. We're trying to make money. Just go to mof.ninja.
Okay, so I'm to the site where I can see the countries that have been listening to the show. Now we have, what is it? 992 people have listened to the show thus far, in all the different episodes that we have. 879 of those people have been in the United States. Germany is now up to 18 people listening to us,
Guten Tag.
which I'm assuming means that there's probably like 5 or 6, maybe 6, and they've listened to 3 different shows. But you never know. Maybe it's 18 people who've listened to just one show and have decided.
Whether there's only 6 of you or whether there's 18 of you, we love you and we thank you for watching the show.
Definitely.
Except that blonde guy. Blonde guy's a dick.
And then the Islamic Republic of Iran has listened to our show 17 times. Japan has listened to us 11 times.
Konnichiwa.
And I'm hoping that's not just the Big Man Japan episode. I hope you guys ventured out and have listened to some of the others that we've done, like the Godzilla episode.
If you've been watching our show, domo arigato.
We have 11 views in Iceland, 10 in the UK, 9 in other regions. I'm not really sure where that is.
Other region sounds like it's something that needs ointment. Be more
No,
specific.
No, see, it comes from Caucasia.
Caucasia.
That's all I get. The other category is 9. France is 8, Mexico is 7, and Venezuela is 5. So if
Say thank you in Spanish, Mario.
gracias.
Hola.
I said thank you. What the hell?
So if you come from a country that I did not mention, you obviously fall into the other regions. But let your voice be heard. Go over to mof.ninja and just say, we've listened to you in whatever country you're listening from,
Just give it a shout out from wherever.
and we will give you a shout out on the show. Or at least, well, yeah, you and your country. Whatever you have pride in, send it to the website. And then we'll give you a shout out on the show.
It doesn't even need to be your country. Just if you take pride in anything, we will shout it out.
Within
Do you
reason.
live on a farm? Tell
Within
us about
reason.
your chickens.
Fucking
Within
shout out
reason.
to the South.
Confederacy forever.
It will rise again.
Oh
Like an old man taking Viagra.
Really think about that for a second. If they ever really redo the Dukes of Hazzard, we've lost the general. The General Lee will not be the same.
They did redo the Dukes
Yeah.
of Hazzard.
No. When they do it again, the General Lee will be slightly different.
I was
What, will it
actually
be a
hoping.
PT Cruiser?
Yeah, that would be
It'll be a
funny.
Prius. I was actually hoping they would update the General Lee, but they didn't. Let's see.
With all this stuff about taking away that flag, and that wasn't the biggest part of the General Lee for me, so I don't care. But
Oh. Only 2 Japanese people have listened to the Big Man Japan episode.
Domo arigato.
That's because they realized that we're bad at Japanese.
Japanese films.
That's
Well,
not true.
most of the Islamic Republic of Iran has listened to. Wait, what show is this?
Leon.
No, I think I just clicked on the last one. He can be the effing floor. Yeah, most of the people that we've had from the Islamic Republic of Iran, all 11 of them, have listened to He Could Be the Effing Floor.
Does it actually say effing, or do you actually spell out the word?
No, I actually say effing because I wanted the title to be kind of clean.
Okay. Nothing else about the episode is clean, so it's kind of misleading, but that's fine.
Well, I do state that it's explicit. So, on iTunes it says it's explicit.
And where can we listen to this explicit material?
You can listen to it on iTunes, Stitcher, or head on over to the website, mof.ninja.
What the fuck is Stitcher?
By the way, that was better, Mario. That was better.
Stitcher is iTunes for people who don't have the skill or money to get Apple products.
So it's
Would it insult those of us who...
It's the fucking Zune app.
Basically. But it's not called Zune, it's called Stitcher. I will say that Stitcher is being uploaded onto the touchscreens of a lot of cars coming out in 2015 and beyond. So is iTunes. So you can actually listen to us in your car on your way to work, or on your way home from work, or if you're just sitting in your car crying in your driveway because you don't want to go inside your house because you don't like the people that live there.
Like and you just learned a little. You just learned a little bit more about Alex than you wanted to.
No, I don't have the touchscreen in my car.
So you're just sitting there crying?
I have to download it onto my phone from iTunes.
And then you sit there crying, listening to your phone.
Like a caveman.
Yes, because I don't have a car. My car is 2014. So yes, it's not new enough to have Stitcher or iTunes pre-programmed into it.
How are those cats?
Oh, come on, you can do better than that.
I'm just saying.
How are your cables?
Fucking hopefully working.
What kind of wine are you drinking tonight?
Actually, I'm not.
Oh, bust out your fruity drinks.
We should go ahead and wrap this up since Jamal is slowly approaching a 24-hour stint of not sleeping.
Jesus Christ, it's almost 3.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Oh, my God.
So, from the Makers on Film, I thank Jamal Alexander for being on the show. Look at there, Jamal. You actually got labeled first. How do you feel?
Mark.
I feel like I'm 22 hours awake.
And we also like to thank Mario I. Silvas for joining us on the show. Mario.
Most of all, we want to thank you guys for listening. Are you not going to add on to that, guys? I appreciate you, fans.
Alex, I can see that we still both have the same humor.
Oh, I already know this game. It's, you start to talk and then he starts to talk over you. I do that a lot. So yeah. I'm not gonna bite into that. See, you don't see this on the episodes, but what happens, and thankfully that I'm a pretty decent editor, so I can correct this most of the time. Jamal just talks over everybody.
No, I don't.
You totally do.
You kind of do, dude.
You guys talk over me all the time.
No, we actually start talking, and then you start talking.
All right. I'll work on that.
But like I said, I'm able to, because this gets put on 2 channels, so I can usually, hi shows from Mario.
Yes.
That is going to be another page soon. Hopefully, by the time this goes live, that page should be up.
I'm so happy you got that right now.
And Jamal, if there is a list of movies that you want to include, maybe your favorites, maybe your least favorites, maybe movies you saw while you were high, drunk, naked, whatever. Go ahead.
Oh.
You can submit that list to me, and I will add that to the thing.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I didn't want to talk over you. Go ahead.
Or, you don't have to submit.
That was good.
See, I let him have that one. Anyway, so good night, fellas.
Toodles.
Join the makers each week as they discuss film, TV, and pop culture. To learn more about them, go to mof.ninja. This is Michael Caine saying goodbye.